So the curriculum, what do you cover? What sort of issues? So PTSD is what? What is that? Tell me about it.
So post-traumatic stress disorder. So post-traumatic stress disorder is where it's very specific in what. So I'm going to try not to use too many letters here. The DSM-5, so the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which is an American thing.
Yeah.
It's written in America. America use it. North America use it.
It's a
So
book of symptoms and treatments.
yeah, yeah,
Lists the symptoms and lists the treatments for it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And diagnoses what symptoms are, what they are. So
They
they
have
might.
a diagnosis called post-traumatic stress disorder. And what does it say it is? And what did you learn about it? And what is it not? And what is it in your
There's
experience?
a difference between that and what people nowadays will call complex PTSD.
Okay.
Okay, so PTSD is often just a one-off, it can be numerous one-off events that have been life-threatening, could be, serious harm, or it can be sexual violence.
Yeah.
They're usually one-off events, but they can be multiple one-off events, but
And
just
there are
like.
sort of symptoms associated with them. What would they be? What types of things might people experience?
Okay, so if there's loads of symptoms, but I generally go by some red flags, and some of the red flags are
Right.
avoidance. One of the biggest things is avoidance.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Be avoiding thinking about, talking about, or doing anything that reminds you of this frightening experience that you've had. Okay, that's one of the big ones. A second one is you might not be doing activities that you used to like and love. You might be finding it difficult to relate to people. That's the second one. I mean, there are lots of others, but these are my three big ones. And the third one is you're likely to be getting repeated, distressing, intrusive
Yeah.
thoughts, memories, dreams. You may get flashbacks. Fairly people know what flashbacks are.
Yeah.
Those are my big three red flags, really. But there are lots of others. You can be hypervigilant, you can be jumpy, you can be engaging in reckless behavior, you can have changes about who you think you are, about the world, really negative thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we could go on, couldn't we, really? As you know.
And so I think it is quite important because some people can poo-poo this stuff, but actually knowledge is really helpful. And for somebody living with this stuff, giving them the knowledge to then think, maybe I can go and talk to somebody about this. Maybe I can go find out a bit more about it. And
Yeah,
that's really, I think, the empowerment of that, right? And
yeah.
then you said something about complex PTSD. What's
Yeah.
that?
I just wanted to say that PTSD is generally fear-based. We
Okay.
talk about being
Yeah,
fear.
yeah, 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 yeah. Great.
Quite often it can be fear-based, but it's quite often shame-based as well.
Ah,
It comes about from, a repeated experience that you don't feel able to escape from. So that could be domestic violence, that could be childhood abuse, that could be being in a war zone. But it's when you feel you can't escape from it and it's ongoing that can. So interestingly, complex PTSD isn't in the diagnostic statistical
no,
manual.
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The European and the rest of the world one, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
yeah. The ICD is definitely in there now.
11, but it's not in a DSM-5.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the symptoms pretty much are the same, and the treatment is similar, really, if not the same. But so
But
it's
it's interesting, I think, that, and there's a gender difference here in terms of diagnosis. And I think that's partly what we're talking about. So historically, we've thought of post-trauma symptoms much more associated with what blokes do, army, all that sort of stuff, and adult blokes. So that's where the diagnosis all come from,
yeah,
and
yeah,
really from soldiers and all that sort of stuff. But now we understand that heightened distress faced with fear of ending of life, either me or mum, doesn't really matter. We've
yeah,
got
it
the
can
kids,
be
you
a
know what I mean?
partner
It's
or
like,
it can
yeah,
be
literally.
someone that's close to you. It
And
doesn't.
this sort of definition of complex is embracing a lot more in terms of gender, in terms of age, in terms of life experience, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
And so it's really important, and I think because of that, that we help people. But then, and what do you think about this idea that everything is trauma, which is how it often gets presented? What's your feelings and thoughts on that?
I think it's interesting. I think that as an adult, it's very easy to poo-poo what a younger child felt in
Yeah,
that. And I think, say just a simple example of falling off a bike. Say maybe you were 4 and you fell off the bike. Now, to us as an adult, that doesn't feel like trauma, it's life, isn't it? But if that child didn't get any support or any looking after, or that could be quite traumatic. They could be holding that still.
Sure, sure.
So, so I think we've got to be difficult. We've got to be careful not to poo-poo people's trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay. And then the idea of resilience and where that comes from, because often that's the thing that's thrown out. Oh, well, when I was younger, somebody would punch me, it didn't matter. That's nonsense. It did matter. But
Because that's probably why you
what
got
does
road
resilience?
rage.
Sorry?
It does matter because that's probably why you got road rage
That's
now.
right, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just
I think the evidence shows, doesn't it? And I believe this, and I've seen this, that if there was at least one person in your life that was supportive and holding and understanding and you felt safe with, that can make a massive
yeah.
difference.
I mean, that's what I got from school, from
Yeah.
my teachers at school. That's literally what happened. I had a really very scary childhood at home, but my teachers were not. They were the opposite, and that really transformed it for me.
And I think that is all it takes. That's what gives that resilience. If there's nothing from anybody, that's where we've got problems.
So this is the key point, and I want to underscore this so that people hear it. Resilience comes from feeling loved and held and nurtured and cared for. It doesn't come from being frightened,
Yeah.
right? That's what you're saying to me.
That's what I believe, yeah.
Well, that's what the evidence says. I mean, it's like just so that people understand that because they confuse shocking events with resilience. No, resilience is the capacity to manage that shocking event more effectively.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
not to say it won't shock, it could do, but if you're more resilient with it, maybe the shocking event has less of a
Mm.
negative impact and less adaptation on our part to it.
And it's interesting, isn't it, how, different people can experience the same event
Yeah.
and react in completely different ways.
I
And that,
remember you'll find this amusing. I found it really insightful and amusing. There was a radio interview, and the head of the army was being interviewed about something, and it was around trauma. And the interviewer said, "Now that we know what are the predispositions towards developing PTSD, can't you screen people out at the interview process from the army?" And he said, "Well, I could do that, but I wouldn't have an army."
yeah, absolutely,
It's like absolutely right.
isn't it?
So I don't think that's right.